Ready?
Yep.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, my friends. This is Pinky.
This is Bianca.
And we're here to call out all things PakeAsPuck. I got it right that time.
Yeah. We'll just switch off. It's easier.
This track makes me lisp out sometimes.
What track? Oh.
And I'm just like, why am I still lisping? It's just on certain words. It's
going to train your tongue to move a certain way.
Yeah.
You had a retainer for a really long time. Mm-hmm. So.
And then I have to wear a retainer after. I'll be like, can we put a permanent retainer in so that I don't have to ever wear a retainer? But then I'm assuming food will get stuck.
Yeah, I don't think those are
that.
Ideally the best way to go about it.
No, my son has one, and I'm just like, no, thank you. No, thank you. How has vacation been with the gremlins at home?
Not bad. I mean, typical. They all got sick right after Christmas.
Of course.
And fortunately, we ended up they did good.
Everybody got sick this Christmas.
Yeah.
What was that?
They were fine Christmas Day. And then Christmas evening, Neil started to come down with something. This guy was just throwing up left and right, stomach bug. It was bad. I could hear him 3 floors down, kind of a thing. It was bad.
No good.
And then my daughter didn't get too sick. She's overall a pretty healthy kid, but the little guy really came down with it. And he was just coughing for a day or two, and then the fever hit. And unfortunately, he was fever free before New Year, so we were able to go out. But I'm like, what happened? And that sucks, right? You're home for 2 weeks, and then you get sick, and we've been stuck. So actually, tomorrow I'm thinking everyone's healthy again. Let's get out. I'm gonna try to do something with them outside.
Does your daughter have a desire to see Wicked? Or does she not?
I don't even think she knows what it is.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some kids, I took the boys to go see Wicked.
We went to go see Sonic 3.
Oh, okay.
How
was that?
It was good. I liked it. I mean,
little man wants to see that.
As good as it is for a kid's movie, I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, they have to make it enjoyable for adults now.
But the best part is watching the little guy then take a pose. It's so good.
Did you take a picture in front? Do they have it? Big thing in the theater?
But they didn't want to take a picture. It was so cold that day and everything. But I see them getting in
position.
Supersonic mode. It's so funny. It's so cute.
Do you know what the supersonic mode looks like? You should look this up and then show him.
Yeah, it's a crouch, and then
but you know who that looks like when he's crouching like that?
No.
He looks like. Look up pictures on what squirrels look like when they land from a tree.
Get the fuck out.
That's what they look like.
Stop ruining it.
No, that's what they look like.
I can't.
Hey,
why do you know this?
I had to return the favor. You're the one that sent me the picture of the frog butt, and you're like, your ass.
You can't unsay it. I showed you the picture of me in August. Definite frog butt.
Definite. I mean, we're trying
it's
to
uncanny.
Not get the frog.
It's uncanny.
But yeah, that's what squirrels look like because they land like that.
That's so good.
You should show him and then be like, who looks like this? Who also poses like this? And be like, does Sonic do that?
Yeah. We'll have to do it. That'll be funny.
I was going to take little man to go see Sonic, but then, have to go to Connecticut and stuff. And we were all going to go, and then they were going to come back Monday because he doesn't go back to school until Tuesday. But it was freaking $2,000 just for plane tickets because it's last minute. And it was just for a 4-day weekend. And I was like, we're not doing that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are meeting the baby in July when the baby's healthy, okay? That's what we're doing because we don't want the baby to get sick. Because we've been to 2 super spreaders. We had our own super spreader Christmas Eve. And then we went to one New Year's Eve. And I was like,
and this is kind of that time where it does spread. One, it spreads faster, and 2, if you're going to go 2 weeks after an event, that's likely when you can spread it the most, too, because you're incubating up until then.
I told my brother, I was like, bro, you need to get some hand sanitizer and make sure that people use it before they touch that baby.
And just wear masks.
Yeah, I'm like, you are in prime.
I think when my mom was staying at my brother's, they masked up for a while.
Yeah. And that wasn't even wintertime, right?
No.
Yeah.
My brother and sister-in-law did that. They came over for Christmas Day.
I saw that. I was like...
And, hey, they were willing to come. They asked to come. I'm not going to say no.
No, absolutely not.
Of course I want to see you guys. Of course I want to snuggle the babies. I'm not going to say no. But I also didn't want to overstep and be like, hey, what are we doing? And it goes by comfort level, right?
Yeah.
But he called me and he's like, hey, Ben, like, what are you guys doing for Christmas? Can we just come over? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
you don't
we
want to
could
fucking
go.
meet the baby.
Yeah, and so, like, he was awake when they got there. I'm like, can I hold him? Like, I had to.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just need to soak this up. It was
Remember
like,
how long I held your second kid when you had him?
Yeah.
I came seriously 3 hours I was holding this baby.
I can't even tell you. Okay, I told this to Neil already, but Neil, actually, I was holding the baby, and Neil asked if he could hold the baby. The way...
Tell me he held the baby like a moron.
No, he held the baby perfectly.
Okay, good.
And he looked really cute doing it.
Oh.
My kitty was purring.
Oh, your ovaries were
Oh, I was like...
Your ovaries were
There's
warming
a little
up.
Problem. Yes, I liked it.
No,
I liked
stop it. We can't.
No, he's fixed. Nothing's gonna
Doesn't
happen.
matter. That doesn't guarantee anything.
It's not even gonna be reversed. But I told him, I was just like, Neil, you look so cute holding the baby. And he's like, it's not happening. I'm like, I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying, my hormones are acting differently than what my brain is telling me, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm just being honest with you.
Oh, God.
It was bad. He looked really cute. I had to take a picture.
Yeah.
I liked it.
But I mean, like I said, babies, when it's somebody else's baby, it's so much more enjoyable to hold them and cuddle them because then you can just give them back.
Yeah. But they also don't want to be with you when they're fussy.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And so...
It's like, you must have done something. Why are they all of a sudden fussy? Like, when I see somebody holding a baby and the baby's fussy, I'm like, you don't know how to hold a baby. Like, the baby can feel your uncomfortableness.
Babies can tell.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
They're the true... they can judge characters very easily.
Like, I have family members, and the babies that we've had here in my husband's family, they literally, like, they feel like this child is going to freeze to death. They put they will not hold the baby without it being wrapped in a blanket. And I'm just
That's a lot. The babies can actually overheat.
Yeah, I'm like, did you not remember? And these are people our age. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like boomer Indian aunties doing this. Like them, I get it.
My mom used to give me shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like, with my daughter, I was like, she's a summer baby.
Well, first of all, the doctor and nurses tell you in the hospital before you leave, they're like, the baby only needs one more layer than you do. If you need a sweatshirt, a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, that means the baby needs a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, and maybe a blanket that you're watching 110%.
And
but they overheat the baby.
Yeah. I was like, we put the babies in a swaddle really just to like keep them like in that cocoon.
Yes.
They felt safer that way.
Right. It's more about them feeling safer.
They were just...
That's what they want, because as
chilling.
soon as they get that freedom from not being inside, some of them, that's all they want to do is that freedom. They don't want to go back. They hate being swaddled, right? But the way, and like they won't like hold the baby, like they make sure there's a blanket under the baby. I'm like, this is so dangerous. Like, you should not be holding a baby like this. Like,
I think the blanket underneath, like when my kids wanted to hold a baby, I told them, I'm like, let me just put, it was more for padding, so that they had a little bit more like support. I'm like, just put your arms like this, and then I'd like plop it in. But yeah, otherwise they have like a receiving blanket.
Yeah, I'm just like, no. Yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, if you're, I get, like, when we had our younger son, right? And when my older son wanted to hold him, we were like, okay, sit down, and we put pillows under his arms because his arms would get tight. Like, we did it appropriately.
Right. Like,
but that's because
they can't keep their arms like this. So I had to wedge pillows under.
But that's because that's your brother. But if he looked at me and said, I want to hold that baby, and it was somebody else's baby, I'd be like, absolutely not. You will wait until that baby is 3 to 6 months old. Like, why, and I, like, again, I have family members who let their children, like, and I'm not talking, like, high school, college-age children. I'm talking, like, elementary, middle school. And I'm like, you can barely hold yourself upright.
Yeah.
And so I don't really trust you to hold a baby that cannot support their own head. Like, as soon as the baby can support its own head, you're fine. You can hold the baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, my daughter wanted to hold the baby, and I told her, I was like, let's just go by carpet first.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, you should just sit down on the sofa. I let her try to hold him. I'm just like, you can cradle him like this, and then you got to support, like, hold the butt, and then, like, support the head. He's, like, what, almost 3 months now?
And her hands are tiny.
Right, but, like, and she was doing a pretty good job, and she would just tell me, she's like, okay, no, mommy, he's getting too heavy. And then I was, like, right there. It's not like we left him with her. But I did tell him, like, maybe we just go by the carpet.
Yeah, like, there's ways, and, like, in all of this specific scenarios I'm talking about, they're all for photo ops. It's not because they actually, like, it's all so they can get photos. And I'm just like, do you know?
But even the child would ask to hold the baby for a photo?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
That's weird.
And it's not. It's
My daughter didn't do that. She wasn't like, oh, can you hold him and then take a picture? It was me that was just like, okay, you got him. Let me get a picture of you guys together.
I think the child in this specific family that I'm thinking about just knows that there's pictures are going to happen.
Oh.
I think in the beginning, but I'm just like, also, like I said, this is not the child's sibling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, can you just wait until this baby can hold its head up?
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't even, like, the mom doesn't even hold the baby the right way. And then now you're giving the baby to your daughter, who is also not holding the baby the right way.
I've seen lots of adults hold children in very, very uncomfortable positions, and
I'm like, girl, I've seen adults hold you incorrectly. Like, and I'm just like, I've seen this with my own eyeballs, and it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But people, they see a baby and they go crazy. Yeah. That's what I don't understand. Like I know I'm going, right? Because first of all, it's a family obligation.
You're also super triggered about it.
I'm very triggered. Like, because think about this. Like, this tiny human being has just been born, right? It has no idea what's going on, has no understanding of the world that it's looking at, probably can't even see the world in color, is still seeing the color in black and white. Yeah, and it can't focus, nothing. And now you're so, like, because when I had my two chutties, I did not want to have my two chutties. First of all, we did not, like, everybody tried to tell me that we didn't need to do one for my older son, because for his 6th day, he was in the NICU, and everybody's like, oh, he's in the NICU, it doesn't count. I'm like, it absolutely fucking counts, because he was just born 6 days ago, just because he's not physically here for you to hold him and pass him around like a fucking trophy.
So is that what they do? They pass the baby around?
Well, they all came.
That's not the one where they do the swinging, right?
No.
That's the 12th or 12th day.
I don't know. I just know about these people do the chutties.
Chutty is just, we never did anything like that. Chutty and ours
I didn't either. This was my first, like, exposure, my own son.
No, right. So when they did Chutty for, like, my kids, it was just, like, there was, like, Chitti. They write a letter.
Yeah.
And then you put it underneath the bed.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Right.
There was no other, like,
no, they were
ceremony.
No, they were doing this puja and stuff, and then, like, a little bit of puja, but then, like,
I think my sister-in-law had a little bit more of, like, a ritual for it.
Yeah.
But the more religious aspect.
Yeah,
I think they just knew Priyanka doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, no. No, we didn't. But I was just like, what do you mean? Like, you guys do chuttis for all of these babies, and then when mine comes, you're like, oh, we don't need to do it because he's in the hospital. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's not right.
And like, for him, I wasn't too upset because he was born in June. So it wasn't like prime cold and flu season. But then the second one was born in October, which is the beginning of
scary.
I did not want, and he came home with me, right? Mm-hmm. The first one didn't, and so I had time to, like, get better and all that. And I couldn't, like, I did not feel like I was able to say I don't want any visitors except immediate family until he's 3 months old, because then
that's
it would
very, very hard to say.
Right, and unless
you get labeled the bitch.
Unless you have a husband that backs you up 110%, or if it's the husband's idea, then, like, why do we need all of these fucking people here?
You had C-sections?
Yeah, and then that's another thing. Like,
even harder.
Like when I first, so, you know, my brother has the baby, right? And I'm like, well, he texts in the morning, we're going to the hospital. And so I was like, we're on baby watch. You know, I told my husband, my boys, we're on baby watch. I didn't tell my mother-in-law yet because she would harass me all day.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. I was like, I don't want to talk to you anyway, so I'm not going to tell you until the baby comes, right? And of course, he said the baby comes at 9:30 at night. So then I tell her the next day, like when she's eating lunch. I was like, oh, he had his baby. You know, I think we're going to have to go for the chutney and all that stuff. And immediately, she's just like, oh, is there a picture? And I look at her, I was like, he looks like a baby. I was like, you don't know what a baby looks like? And she just looked at me like, what? I was like, he looks like a baby. You don't know what a baby looks like? And she could not figure out what I was saying. I was like, the picture's not fucking important. What's important is he healthy? Is the mom healthy? Like, let's ask important questions right now instead of, do you have pictures? Like, How is that how you live your life right now?
Why does that make you so mad?
Because then it stemmed off of that. It was how, and then somebody else, how was the delivery? I was like, oh, the delivery was good. Baby and mom are healthy. That's all I said.
You're triggered because this happened to you.
Yeah, and
nobody asked you how you were doing.
right, and nobody ever asks the moms how they are, and it makes me fucking mad.
As you're explaining this, it's all because
yes,
when you were going through
not even yes, because of no one was asking me, but
then
I've noticed
you
in general
feel this social responsibility to advocate for every other mom out there.
yes. I don't care that his baby mama has 2 other kids. No, each human being that you deliver is different.
Yeah.
Each experience
delivery is
different. Yeah, and she thought, and then the other thing that bothers me.
Normal.
Yes. Oh! Somebody come
know.
in and they're like, "Oh, was it a normal delivery?" I was like, "No, it was normal. They were both healthy," and they were like, I was like, they're both normal. Either even if the doctor cuts the belly and gets the baby out, or she has it through her vagina, it's both normal. And I said that they were both there. My mother-in-law was there, and the home helper was there, and I was like, it was a healthy delivery. This is not normal, and being cutting open is not normal. Nothing that our body does is normal. Okay, like have a man try to deliver a baby, then we'll see how much it evolves and changes and is so much better now, right? And so those 2 things, when you don't ask me how the mom is doing, and all you care about is the fucking baby, I'm just like, it looks like a goddamn baby. Wrinkly. I can put 5 babies.
I know you're mad, but it's just funny what you said.
No, I know.
I hope you don't think that
no,
I'm like...
I don't.
Okay.
I know.
It's just funny what you said.
I know that when I get really heated about something, it can get funny. And that's my downfall, but
to be a fly on that wall, though.
I looked at both of them, and I was like, shame on you for just caring about the baby, and shame on you for worrying about if the delivery was normal. Yes, it was fucking normal.
And you know what that turns into, though? It just turns into the tea.
Yeah.
It's like, then khabar आने अपना baby आई थी normal है तू बतू.
Yeah.
That's it.
No.
They just need something to talk about.
No.
It's a talking point.
It's all normal.
And it's annoying.
It's all normal.
It is normal.
And so I'm literally I'm getting into like war brain right now.
Right, but I'm not trying to defend them.
No, it's fine.
But you know, in their mind, they don't understand what you mean.
No, they don't.
God forbid they use the word vagina.
Yeah.
They're not going to say vaginal versus C-section.
Yeah.
That's it. Like for them,
vaginal is normal.
Right. For them, and it's not to be hurtful or condescending in any way on her end.
No, I know that.
It's just the terminology needs to change.
Right.
And that generation will never use the word vagina. My mom to this day is just dumbfounded that my little guy would be like, Mommy was bleeding from her vagina. Did you know?
Yeah, maybe it should be normalized.
Right.
That should be normalized.
Right. It should, but it's also not going to change for their generation.
No,
They're
it's
not
not
going to understand it.
No. My hope is the more they hear the course correction.
Not at their age.
I know.
And that's really negative on my part, I know.
No, it's not negative, it's realistic.
I truly don't believe that at that age that we can change their way.
Yeah, they're not.
All we can do is try to meet them where they're at and explain to them, we're like, Mom, badu normal let's give away.
Yeah.
Jevi ritna aave, tevi ritna normal let's give away.
Yeah, like I understand in India they prefer C-section because it costs more money, so that's what they push for.
Yeah.
But it's like
what you can ask was, were there any complications?
Yeah. Like,
right?
Was everything okay?
So all we can do is try to advise them on how to change the terminology, but it's likely not going to stick. And I've just kind of come to terms with it.
I mean, at the end of the day, I did show her the pictures of the baby.
You didn't withhold it.
Yeah, I was like, since you don't know what a baby looks like, here's what a baby looks like, Mom. And she was just like, what? I was like, yeah, like, what, you want to see what he looks like?
Yeah, they're going to say something to me like, Neil Jewett lag.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is, like, you can't tell. This baby's fucking like 2 hours old. It looks like a fucking alien right now. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I actually think newborns are cute.
They got like Vaseline on their eyes. And,
no, I think newborns are actually cute.
No, it's just like, when babies are born in our community, it does trigger me to the point where, like, because you didn't learn shit from your own experience. No. And that's my thing.
They
didn't learn shit. They're just perpetuating the stupidity. And I cannot, like, today she's like, I'm taking all the decorations down. And she's like, oh, I called your mom 3 times and she didn't. So she starts out, she's like, oh, does your mom still go to the laundromat? And I'm like, yeah, she goes every morning to the laundromat. And I just kept going back, right? And then she waited a beat, and then she's like, oh, because I tried to call her 3 times and she didn't pick up. So I turned around from the tree and I looked at her and I was like, well, you can keep calling because you have nothing else to do all day. And I turned back around and
Oh
took
my
everything.
God.
I was like, I'm irritated with her, obviously. this is just coming up. But I'm just like, why are you telling me this shit? Like, you have no, you call other
But, like,
people
what do you
all
want me
day.
to do?
Yeah, like, what do you want me to do? Call my mom and then give you the phone? Keep fucking trying her. You sit and call everybody and anybody and complain about your health all day, every day to these fucking people. Then ring her 5 million times to just say congratulations. Like,
Or just
and I know what it's going to
accept
be.
the fact that she might just be a little tied up right now. She'll call you back.
Right, like,
can you wait?
Like, she's getting the house ready. She's making sure that, like, everything's clean because
got a
she was
lot
at
to do.
home. Yeah, you know. And I'm just like, are you fucking like, why is this your way of making conversation? Like,
Don't take to offense that she didn't answer the phone. She'll call you back. Just wait.
because I know that's what it is. That's what it's going to turn into. Oh, I called your mom. Metar mommy na phone karyo. Tranwar pon uparioj nai.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not sitting around doing nothing on her ass like you are, okay? She fucking drives. She gets her own groceries. She does. I'm sorry. I need to stop.
You're so mad.
The thing with the whole, like, new moms is, I've said it once and I'll say it again and I'll keep shouting it from the rooftops. I actually don't care about the baby you just delivered because that baby's going to be around for a long fucking time. I care about the person that just delivered that baby because as a fellow woman who has delivered 2 children, I know how traumatic that experience can be. And so when a fellow woman does not ask another woman who just delivered a baby, how are you doing? That irritates me.
Yeah.
If a guy, oh, how's the baby? Fine. They're men. They don't understand the trauma that our bodies go through. But when another woman does it,
Yeah.
it makes me irrationally mad. Because I'm just like, you know what our bodies went through for that 9 months. You know, and then yet you still, all your concern is the baby.
With the older generation, I think it's really tough because maybe I've just like come to terms with them just being this way.
I mean, I have too.
And they're just not going to change. They're not going to see it. You could talk to them until you're blue in the face and
I
they're just
won't.
not going to get it.
I'll just give them my one-liners and leave.
Yeah. But in trying to like just understand them, I think to some degree, at least these are conversations that I've had with other women too. Like one of my friends was like nervous about having another one. And it's weird, like even for me, you forget what happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's why we keep having babies, because we forget.
I can't say that about everybody. In my experience, I did forget. Like I remember some stuff. Like I definitely don't want another one, but you forget all that goes into it, right? Like my brother and sister-in-law were running upstairs to feed and do nap times, and like, oh, they just woke up, so now you got to give them a bottle, and then they play for a little bit, and then when you're changing them, and it's like, oh, how many ounces did the baby have? You block a lot of that shit out, but it does, like, it layers into a lot of the trauma. So yes, I am cognizant of it, and when I see other moms, I'm just like, oh, okay, how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing? I'll try to check in on them as much as possible, but at the same time, going through motherhood, I've learned to understand that, like, at least when it comes to like my cousins, because I had a lot of resentment against my cousins. Like, you guys didn't tell me that it was like this.
My God.
I had like this expectation that my older cousins that have gone through it would have warned me.
Yeah, giving you a heads up,
coached
buttercup.
me as to what it's like. And going through it myself, I honestly think that it's that survival mode that they were in. And this is more for like the next generation up.
Yeah.
So like you and like you're not much older than me, but like my cousins are probably more along, like a little bit older than you kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that age group where I'm kind of just like, I used to be so angry, but I've learned to let it go. But when it comes to anyone older than that, like our moms, grandmoms, they're just too fucking old to get it. They're all dogs, and it's just like,
I need to remind
I just
myself.
try not to expend too much energy on it. I'm just like, whatever. You guys are happy. You're good. You're fed. Basic needs are met. And we
Listen,
move on.
their basic needs are met, and I know sometimes, like, I know that I can come across very, like, harsh because I am so direct with what I say, and that my
Yeah.
delivery is very, like, to the T.
You didn't get what you needed.
Right.
And you haven't been able to, like, forgive it.
No.
And that's why I
Like,
think,
until, and maybe I will be able to forgive it when I become that geriatric, when I become 75 and I am that grandma, and I'm the one that asks any new woman in our
it's
family.
going to be very... And
I say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, the younger generation is watching me, and I'm showing them a different version.
Well, they
And
say breaking the cycle doesn't come easy.
I
And
know.
you're the generation that's doing it.
it's very, like, it's very difficult because I ebb and flow with my frustration.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm better than other times, and, like,
We can't correct the past, though. We can
I
only
know.
focus on how are we going to fix it for the future.
I know.
That's it.
And that's why I'm like, that's why when I said, when she was like, "Oh, do you have pictures?" So, you don't know what a baby looks like? Let's ask.
That's just so
Like, it fucking looks like an alien. Like, come on, it's a raisin. It's like,
I understand where you're coming from, though, with that. I definitely do understand where you're coming from. I know where she's coming from, though, too. Like, she was probably just like, the fuck?
yeah, like, why is it, but my thing was, well, it's like, why is that the first question out of your mouth?
How's everybody?
Like, and even if it was, even if the first question was, did everything go okay?
Well,
that's
and the other side, she never had a daughter to
teach her
experience that.
and to
Right?
teach her. Yeah,
She didn't have a daughter that would have a child that she would be there for in that time.
no, but she had the opportunity. Okay, so my husband's older brother, there's just two, obviously, but my husband's sister-in-law, when she was pregnant with the baby,
It's different.
she was in the fucking room.
It's always different. It's not your daughter.
Okay.
I do think that is different. You're gonna mind your manners. Like, okay, so earlier today, the way that my mom acts with my sister-in-law versus how she acts with me, right? Very different.
Really? That's
Very,
true.
very
That's true.
different.
The way Usha
And
acts
so
with me versus,
they can say it all as many times as they want. Like, my mother-in-law is the cutest. Whenever she's talking to people, she's like, my Priyanka. So she definitely considers me as one of her own, but, like, she wouldn't have been in that room and she wouldn't have been as raw with me. No shade to her.
Yeah, no.
For that. Some mother-in-laws are capable of doing that, but generally speaking, they don't.
Like,
Because it's not your daughter. There's just something different about when it's your daughter going through the pain. You can, like, pet her and rub her feet and this and that, and you know what kind of food she likes, and you can bicker and whatnot with her. Mm-hmm. It's not the same the other way around.
I feel like that falls on both the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. Like, and then this has been a big thing I've been seeing on social media, especially around the holidays, you know, toxic mother-in-laws, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And because here's the thing, my mother-in-law not knowing me when I had my first kid 18 years ago, mm-hmm. valid. Because we had just gotten married a year ago, right? I was new to the family. You don't know me that well. But my mother-in-law not knowing my husband's sister-in-law, false. Because she watched that girl grow up. They lived in the building. She knew her 110%. She is her favorite. I know this, and I'm over it. She is her favorite between the two of us. So when she was in that room...
That's only because she has, like, a little bit more history with her.
But, like, when she was in that room with my... Like, and I was in... I don't know how I ended up in that room.
I'm going to backtrack. I wouldn't say that she's the favorite, per se. Because she obviously prefers to stay here.
Okay, that's room for thought. I just assume she prefers to stay here because the space is bigger.
My mom spent so many years thinking that she was just hated. But I was like, yeah, but Mom, you've always been the one to take care of them, and they rely on you just as they would of their own, like, first daughter.
Yeah, I mean, right now,
so there is, like, a caretaker type of love for you that they're not going to stay at the other house because they just know that they're likely, how do I word this? She's not the favorite. She's just easier to not fight with. Like, they're not gonna argue with her because it's not gonna go in.
Yeah, she
in their
doesn't
way.
say anything back to her, and I actually encourage when I talk to my mother-in-law and father-in-law. I'm like, okay, come on.
You have actually taken them on as parents and treated them that way, and I think they feel that kind of nurturing love from you.
Yeah,
But when it comes to her, it's just easier to not fight with her.
I think
to
so.
argue with
Yeah,
her.
in hindsight, yes.
So it comes
Yes.
off as like, oh, they like her more, when actually they're just trying to like
Shut her
keep it at bare minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's my other thing, because you also have boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So me not having a daughter, like, this is what, in consuming all of this content that I've consumed, obviously because I've been home, my dream for when my boys end up with life partners, whoever their life partners, I don't care.
Yeah.
But my dream, my goal, not dream, my goal is to make them feel like they're one of my children. And I
That
feel
also
like I
needs
can,
to be reciprocated from them.
yes, depending on how they feel.
They may or may not want that, and then you have to be okay with that.
Which I'm going to be okay with it. But in addition to that, the other goal is to make sure that whoever they end up with a like lifelong partner, they never feel the need to make my mother-in-law such a content. Like, if they say no, I'll be like, okay, you let me know when you need me. I'll be right here. And if they say yes,
But that can also go two different ways, because in this is coming from like conversations that I've had with my mother-in-law, where they tend to overcompensate based off of their own experiences, right?
Yeah.
So very same thing, right? She's always treated both of her boys equally. And then she had one daughter-in-law come into her life 7 some years before me.
okay.
And then she learned certain things from that daughter-in-law of how things need to be with a daughter-in-law. How does a female in the family need to be treated?
Yeah.
So she thought, okay, I'm going to try to replicate the same with Bianca. Now,
But you're a different person.
right. And
Yeah.
at the same time, they also knew me as a child.
Okay.
They knew my family as a child.
Yeah.
So the dynamic was very different, but they were trying, I know she was trying to like, okay, well, we learned this from her. We don't want her to feel differently. So they tried to keep it equal.
But it's hard.
But at the
can't,
same
yeah.
time, our dynamics are just very different. And there was a lot of push-pull with that until I was like, yo, can we just talk about this?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, even to this day, my mother-in-law will just be like, whatever you want, you tell me. But I still, from a daughter-in-law's perspective, I feel like I'm tiptoeing around her. So I
don't want that, yeah.
It takes time.
No, yeah,
It's just a
absolutely.
matter, I honestly think it's just a matter of having that conversation. I'm pretty upfront with her about it. I call her as it is in a nice way. I'll just kind of like put it out on the table. I'm like, it's awkward, but we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? That may or may not be the case. So you kind of just have to see what you get. And hopefully it goes the way that you want it, and it may not.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Because you're not dealing with a robot, right? I'm dealing with another human being.
Right.
So I got to take their personality into account.
Hopefully you can just like you've created a safe space for the boys, you can create a safe space for their partners.
Yeah.
And
that's all you can
do.
That's my goal, is
That's
to
all
make
you can
sure that they have a safe space with me as well as their spouse, right? And
I honestly, I go to my mother-in-law a lot about shit.
yeah, more.
Just because my mom she's got 27 years of shit on me.
Yeah, that's
and my
true.
mother-in-law doesn't have that shit on me.
Yeah. So she's not gonna keep bringing it up.
Right, and when I talk to her, I feel like I'm being heard with her.
Yeah.
Whereas my mom is not the same. Yeah. But I still go to her for a lot of other shit. And there's
like I said,
dynamics.
Like the goal is like, to make sure that I'm a safe space for all of them, because once you
don't
for
wanna
me
repeat.
like once you're in my family, you're in my family.
Yeah.
And I want to, like, same with with my brother's baby mama. We made sure, like, I'm kind of not like love bombing her and texting her all the time and all that, because I just want to make sure that I'm kind of treating her how she wants to be treated, right? So I'll text once in a while just to see how she's doing during the pregnancy. And then, he texted me, we're going to the hospital, and then sent a picture. And I texted him, I was like, how's she doing?
Yeah.
How's she doing? How she, I kept asking him because he was answering. I'm not going to harass her because I know she's busy, right? Obviously, she's having a baby. But, like, and she's okay with that. I'm okay with that. And I asked her, I was like, so how do you, and I was up front. I was like, how do you envision this working?
I'm glad you did, because that was going to be my next question is like, you know, when you say that, like, well, I know that she doesn't want to be bothered, or I know that she's going through a lot. Yes, you get that, but what if she did want the text? Like,
Yeah.
did you ask her?
Not that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
No.
some people do. They want
to know people care.
right. Maybe she did want the text directly, because I know like, I didn't think this. I think my mother-in-law was like texting Neil, or something was happening. Maybe not even in my family, but I was just like, why is everybody always going to Neil?
Because they didn't want to bother you.
Right, but I'm just like, talk to me directly.
Yeah.
Right? And so
yeah.
it could be different.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Like,
No, she knows. I mean, like I said, I've texted her in the past, and not like in a group chat with my brother. So,
the relationships just take time to build.
yeah.
Just be a friend. Just be a friend to her.
I know.
Right?
Like I said, I just want to make sure safe space, like safe space. You could talk, like, she'll be like, oh yeah, your mom made, banana, and she's like, I've been eating it. I'm like, why are you eating it? It's so disgusting.
I mean, she likes it though.
She's like,
That's not
I
good.
feel like I can't not eat it because I'll get bad juju. I'm like, you will, girl. You.
They used to leave that shit in my fridge, and like my mom would give me a hard time. But again, you see the difference. My sister-in-law, and someone not body this. I'm just like, I did too.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I did too. I let it rot in my fridge, and then you got mad at me for that.
Yeah. No. No. My mom was cutting it up in like she would sit there and watch me eat it. She's like, मैं पेड़ा नहीं बनाया, लड्डू नहीं बनाया. Oh God. PTSD. All right. Leave your questions, comments, all that BS down below. We will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.